covered by ocean waves, near where man has been launched into space. The giants of offshore racing will battle in the Atlantic as the Offshore Pro Tour fleet takes to the seas off of Florida's Space Coast. From ESPN, it's the Offshore Professional Tour. The thrilling spectacle of multi-engine powerboats racing on waters all across the United States. Incredible speed, raw horsepower, and the will to withstand the pounding of relentless seas. The thrill of danger combined with the excitement of competition. The Offshore Professional Tour. The Florida Keys and Key West present the 1991 Space Coast Offshore Challenge. Sponsored by the Florida Keys and Key West. Now it's the time to just let go in the Keys. And by Popeye's famous fried chicken and biscuits. For the first time in offshore boat racing history, the power and the speed of the OPT will be displayed on the Space Coast in the shadows of the Kennedy Space Center. Hello, everybody. I'm Art Eckman, and working with me is Jim Hendrick. And Jim, this community is excited. Not only is there a space launch scheduled for just a few days from now, but also this community is in the midst of their third annual Beach Fest, a great festival which includes, as one of the big highlights, our race today.
No doubt about it. The electricity you can feel in the air all week long. A huge civic operation here. Morning, noon, and night festivities, and it all climaxes with this race here today. Now, it's apropos, you know, Art, that the OPTs race in this area, because at the Space Center, there's been a lot of technology developed that the OPT offshore boats use today, and especially in the area of safety.
This is the second race of the OPT season, and to be honest with you, Jim, I didn't expect such close boat-to-boat action in the first race at Marathon. What do you expect here today?
I expect the same thing. Those that were successful at Marathon will be successful in competition today. Those that were not have had that one race to improve. We may see a tighter race and even a faster race.
The guy with a great seat to see all the action is Rich Lures, and he'll be up above in the helicopter. Rich?
Right, Art, we're looking forward to a lot of activity in today's race. A lot of turns, a short course right against the beach. It should be very, very exciting. The wind is kicking up, so it should be quite choppy out there. A southwest wind, a beam sea for the racers. We're going up now to take a good close look at this activity. Back to you.
Okay, Rich, I envy the position you're going to see the race from. Jim, the course today, laid out, I think, similar to last year's New York course. Long straightaways, may up the speeds a bit, but also for the spectators, it's much like the Miami course. They can see it all.
Yes, they'll be able to see it all, but it's going to be easier on the throttle men, too. Last race, smooth water underneath the 7-mile bridge at Marathon, into rough water, changing throttle positions. Here, they can go and become consistent. But if they go too fast, too soon, too long, attrition time, so be very careful. The fleet will start in the shadow of the Kennedy Space Center along Cape Canaveral. Heading south, the boats will pass the Cocoa Beach Pier and race close along the beach, providing spectators with a magnificent view of the action. After an 8-mile run south, the fleet makes the turn at checkpoints 2 and 3, just off of Patrick Air Force Base. Then it's north for the 8-mile leg to complete an 18-mile lap. Each class must make a predetermined number of laps to complete today's race. 8 laps, 144 miles for Superboat and Open class. 6 laps, 108 miles for Pro 1 and Pro 2.
A course of simple configuration, but diminishing that simplicity, the elements, the wind creating true offshore powerboat racing conditions here today, and a record-breaking Beach Fest crowd on the shore.
But you at home watching television will have a great view. Cameras on the shore, cameras in the air, and onboard cameras, 5 of them, count them, on 3 of our competitors. Every rock, every roll, you'll be able to experience.
Everyone's assembled and ready to put the power to the water here on the Space Coast. And my partner, Jim Hendrick, well, he's going beyond the call of duty for this one.
All right, I want to tell you right now, man, I'm really excited to be here. But do I have to really wear this suit throughout the whole broadcast?
We are ready for blast off, the second race of the OPT season, when we come back. The fleet is moving out now, the parade of boats passing through Port Canaveral, the third largest in the nation. The fans getting a good look at these racing boats from the cruise ships as well, those giant ocean liners in contrast to the sleek racing machines.
Earlier this week, a group of these highly competitive racers joined together for a tour of Spaceport USA at NASA's Kennedy Space Center. Walking in the Rocket Garden, team members from Little Caesars, Excalibur, AES Motorsports, Bud Dry, and Circus were awestruck at the size of these machines, which have traveled to the stars and back. Using the many components of space technology in offshore racing gives the racers an identifiable link with these astronauts, and all hope that on race day they will be as successful as our space program has been.
An impressive crowd waits on the beaches now for the start of the Superboat race. Let's check the lineup, Jim.
Dan Campbell has Randy Garcia at the wheel in the Campbell Racing for this particular race. Bud Dry, August Bush IV, and Jeff Sofer teaming up. It'll be the veteran team of Tom Gentry and John Connor in the Gentry Eagle. Barry Roth, Mike Cousineau in the boat Insatiable. And the Pink Lady Circus, Stephen Dorshich and John Bruno.
Next in our lineup, Powerboat Marine with Russell Wookett and Jim Dyke. Then we've got the Spirit of the Amazon coming off the first win of the season with Ike Batista and the veteran Bobby Moore. Little Caesars Pizza, Peter Markey and Trey's Martin. From the V-Bottom to the Jaguar Marine, Jack Clark and John Trevisano. In Excess, his first race of the season, John Garrett is back with Ralph Martin.
And look at the water, the lead of the pace boat taking those boats out. Oh, they've got their work cut out for them today. Those rollers are really 4 to 6 feet in places.
Here we go with the start right there at the point is In Excess. He had a great start in the season last year. He is at the point in his first race of this season.
We're on board Spirit of the Amazon, taking a look at the driver, Ike Batista. Let's listen into the conversation of the crew.
Go to your left a little, Ike. No, you can't. I know. Don't watch.
Don't watch? Somebody better watch. There's a lot of traffic out there.
Ike Batista at the wheel of the Spirit of Amazon, moving in on In Excess now in second place. Campbell Racing also in the tough of it. And Tom Gentry, he proved he had the power in that last race. Can he last, though, Jim?
I think so. He's a wily veteran. And look, surprise, surprise, guess who's back?
Our early leader, In Excess, John Garrett, and he's pushing it on. There's Ike Batista and Bobby Moore up on the right side now in a tremendous battle here in the first lap for 1 and 2 in the Superboat competition. Rough water conditions.
Now, watch out. We've got the Deep V barely out in front of this catamaran. Spirit of the Amazon, who won it all last year. Look at him launch off of that wave. That great big 50-foot boat just became airborne.
These are perfect racing conditions for the Offshore tour.
That hoo-hoo was Ike Batista. He's having a ball. Loves it. And right now he's challenging for first place.
Neck and neck, Jim. Bow eye to bow eye. What a shot right now. The catamaran versus the V-bottom in very rough conditions.
We're about halfway down this straight chute now as the two boats battle for first place, but looks like they're slowing down and want to turn, and according to my charts, this isn't where you turn.
Confusion in the cockpit now. The Spirit of the Amazon following In Excess.
Did we pass one already back there? Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Did we, for sure?
Yeah, go, Bobby.
Keep an eye on them, Randy. Let's don't make a
No,
mistake.
that's turn one. That's buoy one there.
We got to go that way.
That's buoy one. This ain't the turn.
No, go down further, Ike. Go down.
Spirit of the Amazon.
No, that ain't the turn. That's buoy one.
There you go.
That's halfway. That's halfway there.
Yeah.
Figuring out the confusion now as they were following In Excess. In Excess now has discovered no one's following them. They're way off course, Jim.
Oh, this is going to give the advantage to Tom Gentry, and there he is. He's taken over first place on the confusion of the first and second place boat. Tom Gentry's on course and in the lead at this point.
Gentry posting an impressive speed early in this race as he looks back to see where the competition's going to come from. So it is Gentry. Spirit of the Amazon correcting very quickly, is also averaging better than 70 miles an hour on this first lap. Amazing. And Little Caesars Pizza currently in third after the first lap. We'll be back with the start of the open class and more racing action on the OPT Tour right after this. Art Ekman and Jim Hendrick, welcome back to the Space Coast Offshore Challenge. As the superboats are out on the water competing right now, Jim, let's turn to the open class starting lineup.
It's Dirty Laundry, Joe Mock, Harold Smitty Smith in the US 1. Excalibur, Hotel Casino, Bob Kaiser and Errol Lanier teaming up. Hugo Colombo and Mandy Fernandez in the Ferrari collection. Mean Streak with Robert Gallo and Bob Cicenti.
Next in the lineup, 21st Airborne with Rocky Summerall and Blair Blesko. And after a fine performance in Marathon, AES Motorsports with Alan Shapiro teaming with Joey Impressia, Ali Veet, Bill Aylesworth, and Pete Rhodes. And rounding out the field, Ohio Steel with John Revan and Charlie Hogan.
And the Atlantic Ocean continues to kick up. It'll be a challenge as the pace boat cuts in front of the fleet and they come very close to shore near the spectators for the start.
This is exciting. The open class, always one of the most competitive classes now, getting up to speed, getting up to plane, getting ready for the green flag and the start of their classification.
Oh, there is nothing more beautiful in motorsports than a start of powerboat racing on the waters. And look at this beautiful shot.
From top to bottom, AES Motorsport, Ali Veet, Ferrari Collection, Dirty Laundry, and number 7 right there closest to us, Excalibur. What an amazing start for the open class.
There's no prettier start in motorsports. And look at the inside of the cockpit of Dirty Laundry with our onboard camera riding with Joe Mock. And he's going to give battle. A lighter boat is out in front.
35-foot Jaguar Ferrari Collection with 2 800-horsepower Mercury engines. Hugo Colombo on that one, and Manny Fernandez, as you see Joe Mock trying to catch that lighter cat. Ferrari Collection, winner of the open class at Marathon, the first race of the season. He is out in front once again.
And they're still bunched up at the start with Ferrari Collection with a slight lead over Dirty Laundry. But look at Bobby Kaiser come on in Excalibur.
Jim, was special edition, never getting off the trailer at this race. Ferrari is the smallest craft in this division. And Mandy Fernandez told me earlier that he just wants to stay high in the points. I don't know if we can compete with the bumpy conditions, but we don't want to let him get too far away. But he's pressing the action right now.
Boy, and we have action here at Cocoa Beach, race number 2 of the OPT Offshore Tour.
Last year's national and world champion in the red boat out in front now, taking a slight lead, is Dirty Laundry over Ferrari. But look at Bob Kaiser and Errol Lanier right there in Excalibur. Okay, the start time now for the Pro 1 and Pro 2. Talk about a wild ride with these smaller boats in these conditions, Jim.
Hang on! If those big boats are getting a rough ride, what are these guys going to do? First defense, Mike Novick out in front of P555, P99, Skater Express right on his hip.
Tough Enough and Agitator also making a great first lap battle of it. Here's the superboat competition once again. Spirit of the Amazon and Tom Gentry battling it out right now. Bobby Moore of Spirit of the Amazon saying we try to improve technically every race. We want more responsive engines for this one and better handling. Let's go up to Rich Lures now in the chopper.
As you can see, as we head northbound, the Spirit of the Amazon is handling these seas beautifully, while the Gentry boat is struggling a bit, rocking from side to side, pulling its drives out of the water. Have very different trim systems in these boats. One has 4 conventional drives, while the Gentry boat has a straight inboard alignment. The Gentry boat has less trim capability and will have less ability to modify his riding attitude as the race progresses.
The drives caused problems for Gentry in the season's opener at Marathon, but they beefed up the rigging built around the drives to withstand the beating they encounter in these rough seas.
When we come back, we'll find out just how physically fit these racers have to be.
Welcome back as the Giants continue to pound the sea and battle it out in the superboat class. Gentry, number 1, and Spirit of the Amazon, number 2 in the superboat class. Now, while these machines must be up to the test, the men in the cockpit also must be ready to answer the call.
Sanctioning organizations in motorsports today make a strong commitment to safety and medical programs. OPT is no different. But in addition to canopies, fire systems, fire suits, flotation gear, and the best helmets that money can buy, OPT takes it one step farther. They instruct, they personally train the people that are in the cockpits of these boats. And here to explain is the OPT director of the safety and medical teams, Dr. Matt Houghton of Michigan. Doctor, why is your sport different than any other motorsport organization?
Jim, the Offshore Professional Tour Racer is the penultimate boater. We stress education, engineering, and enforcement. The first part of it is an annual Class 2 Federal Aviation Examination physical that is required of every racer. On top of that, at every race, they must pass a stringent pre-race physical examination to prepare them for the rigors of the hour-and-a-half of fast-track seas. A daily and pre-race conditioning program is also prescribed for these competitors. Racers are their own first line of rescue defense. This was best evidenced when the crew members of Excalibur and Special Edition leapt into the water to save crew members at our last race in Marathon, Florida, from the hyperactive boat.
Aren't they trained also, Doctor, to get out of the boat, extricate themselves if the boat's upside down? And how do you do that?
Oh, Jim, all restrained competitors annually practice the Mark Lavin Safety Foundation McMillan dunk test for post-accident self-extrication with self-contained underwater breathing apparatus.
For speed, it takes horsepower and engineering, but for safety, the biggest factor is the human one. Back into the cockpit now, the Spirit of the Amazon.
Oh, the engine's okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything looks real good.
Spirit of the Amazon riding in second place. Ike Batista, Bobby Moore and crew taking a pounding, but they look like they're riding pretty good. Meanwhile, our lead boat, the Gentry Turbo Eagle with Tom Gentry and John Connor, they're getting a pounding. Ooh, listen to the sound of that hull meeting the water.
One and two right there. Gentry out in front. Spirit of the Amazon, and it looks like they might be straying a bit.
It seems to me that when they made that turn, after they left the shoreline, they took a real wide course. We'll have to wait and see. Here's Little Caesars Pizza Pete Markey, currently running in third place.
They had their problems, but they held on long enough for third place in Marathon as well, in excess. His first race of the season.
He's fourth, and look at the sign. We're back, it says, on the stern of that boat.
Circus, a vast improvement. They survived one slow lap in the opener at Marathon. They're competing big time right now.
In sixth place, it is Power Boat Marine. Russell Wilkin and Jim Dyke going for a ride. Not riding too badly, considering the seas here on the Atlantic Ocean today.
Next, it's Insatiable, Barry Roth and Mike Cousineau, and they re-rigged this boat after Marathon's race last year, spent 6-day weeks, 12 hours a day to get everything back together.
John Provenzano and Jack Clark's Jaguar Marine, currently eighth, getting his first Superboat ride today, and what a baptism of fire on this rough course.
And looking for a good, consistent run today, and it looks like they're competing much better. Bud Dry, their driver, August Bush IV, in the race with a slight handicap today.
Well, I had a little judo injury a couple days ago, and it's a little painful. It's sprained, but we'll be able to race today. So.
Will it affect your driving any?
No, in the enclosed cockpit, when you're able to sit down and you're strapped in, you have no weight on your feet. You just got to keep it from bouncing around, and it might hurt a little bit, but I'll make it.
Jim, for a young racer, August Bush IV is truly displaying the grit and determination it takes to win in offshore racing.
Look at this battle as we check the leaders in open Class 2 40-footers going side by side.
And it was interesting to note, I think, that AES Motorsports' Alan Shapiro said, I want to come into this race and run fairly conservative, not go for the lead, but be with the pack. Well, it's more than that now.
Our onboard camera shows to the left, Joe Mock, to the right, the throttle man, Harold Smitty Smith from Miami. Look at him battle that wheel, Art.
Two big 40-footers. You know, Joe Mock hoped to take advantage of his boat's size and weight today.
Well, as the conditions look, as I see now, it's going to be a very, very rough rate, even though it's close to the beach. We're going to look at 3 to 5s or maybe more. The winds are picking up, so it should favor the V-bottoms.
With all the turns in this race in a short course, do you like this kind of racing?
I like this kind of racing because it's rough. If it was a short course and flat, I wouldn't like it, but it's fine. It's a safe course. There's not too many turns. It's long straightaways, so we get time to get started out and don't have a lot of problems at the corners.
No problem except for the competition, that is. AES Motorsports. They think they've solved their overheating problems from the past with some new water pickups installed. Joey Imprescia and Alan Shapiro.
And once again, AES Motorsports pulling up side by side the Dirty Laundry. Great speeds in this water as we look at our third place boat, Ollie Veet with Bill Ellsworth and Pete Rhodes doing battle.
An impressive performance for Ollie Veet after dropping out of action after 2 laps at Marathon.
And the winner at Marathon, the Ferrari Collection, is now being challenged by the 41st Airborne, and they're going to take over for 4th place.
Not the best of conditions for Ferrari right now. Bob Kaiser, Errol Lanier, they're concerned, I can tell. They've got problems. Look how low in the water. They might be down an engine right now. And we've got more navigational problems, it looks like, for the Superboat leaders. Let's go up to Rich Lors.
Yeah, what we're looking at is the Spectator fleet and the actual race course. Immediately below us is the true race course, and you can see the race boats offshore, some of them still heading north beyond the north turn, trying to find an opening, and in fact there is no opening. They've got to come through and idle through that Spectator fleet, and it's like a wall for them. They've created themselves a heck of a problem right here.
They will not be penalized, though, if they come off plane and get through that Spectator fleet.
Let's go inside the cockpit and listen to the conversation of the crew.
There's the buoy, there. Yeah, it should be just in there somewhere. I can see there, Bobby, there.
Yeah,
The red one. Let's go after.
but we're way outside of it. We should have been inside of the
Should we
damn
go
thing.
back around
No, we got to come off plane, though.
to go through?
Yeah. We're going to have to come off plane.
Is that what Gentry's doing?
Yeah. Come on, let's go through right here, Ike.
It's legal, we just gotta come off plane?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I knew it. It was very close to the shore.
What seemed to be a simple oval course with one big wide turn and getting trapped outside the Spectator fleet has turned into the second problem of navigation today.
While losing valuable time going through the Spectator fleet, the relative positions should be similar when they come out and start racing and get back up to plane once again.
Already through its slow bell and back up to speed, the leader is the Gentry Eagle with Tom Gentry and John Connor. Leading in Superboat class. Let's take a look at our leaderboards as we near the midway point of the race. Gentry Eagle, 74.5 average speed, and in the open class, the leader, Dirty Laundry, at 75.6. We'll take you center ring with the ringleader of the new Circus Superboat racing team when we return.
While we were away, they stuffed the Ferrari Collection. It actually went underwater and then popped back up, tearing the engine hatches off. Both Mandy Fernandez and Hugo Colombo all right.
I find this hard to believe, but as we look at our Superboat leader, the Gentry Turbo Eagle, they've made the turn in the south end. They're now going north, but they made it wide once again. I believe they are off course. We're looking inside the cockpit. Tom Gentry bouncing around, holding onto the steering wheel, but I think he's gone way wide again, and this could cost him.
And still, he's averaging 76.7 miles an hour. Tremendous power. Looking for their second consecutive win, Spirit of the Amazon, Ike Batista spearheading an effort to put OPT on the international scene, and he puts his money where his mouth is.
We're giving the sport the guarantee that it will happen for the next 3 years. And I think that will help sponsors, you know, it will help the individual boat owners that will get more sponsors because they know now that there's somebody guaranteeing the races for 3 years. And I think I could turn this into a business. That's at least that's what I will try to do.
What would the parameters of that business be? How big would the sport become?
The superboat class is the biggest class in offshore. I would compare it to Formula One. If one organizes it right, and if we bring the Europeans in, if we get the UIM sanctioning, which is something we want to get because it's prestige, you know, so I think it could get very, very big.
In getting back to the racing, Ike Batista's Spirit of the Amazon has taken over the Superboat lead. He did not follow Gentry, who went wide off course. So Gentry now in second place, Spirit of the Amazon first. Here was the battle for third, Jim.
And they're moving up through the Pro 2 traffic very carefully in excess. The bottom of your screen, battling the Circus, the Pink Lady, for third place. And this is a deep V versus a catamaran, folks, at this point of the race as they head south down the shoreline.
An interesting shot, Jim, as you can see the traditional deep V in excess versus the very non-traditional 40-foot two-engine superboat Circus. In excess has taken over third place in the superboat classification. John Garrett comes into the season excited after being frustrated, mad, brokenhearted, disappointed last year, losing a 300-point lead and the championship.
1,200 horsepower per motor, 9,000 pounds full of fuel and race ready, this beautiful Circus. Art Ekman takes an inside look at the owner-driver, Steve Dorsich.
Away from the speed of the engines and the rough waters of the seas, Stephen Dorsich enjoys a somewhat slower pace on the land. Tucked away in the rolling hills of Saratoga, California, the family home doubles as the family business. With acres of vineyards to maintain for his grape and wine company, Stephen enjoys the challenges of making his living from the soil.
My father was from Croatia, Yugoslavia, and they were all seafarers, but when they arrived in California, they all went right to the soil. And it's been very good to us, you know. And it's just something in your blood. You know, I like to get out and hoe weeds, and I love to get out on my tractor, and I love the California sunshine, you know.
This season marks a double debut for Dorsich, his premiere in the superboat class, as well as the inaugural run of his 40-foot cat, the Circus. Though keeping with the skater design, the former Pro 1 world champion has moved up 2 whole divisions and tripled the horsepower of the machine he handles.
In a smaller boat, you feel more. You feel what the boat's going to do when you come off a wave. You know, you come off a wave in this 40-footer, it takes a while for it to get down. Weight transfer is another issue. With the smaller boat, when you get off the throttles, you feel the boat leaning forward. Get on the throttles, you feel the boat transfer the weight to the stern. This boat, you don't feel it as much. And that's what it's all about, sitting in that cockpit and really feeling what's going on around you. You flip the switch and you become part of the machinery.
Despite its 40-foot length and 2,400 horsepower, the Circus is one of the smaller and less powerful boats in the superboat class today.
Our theory is, behind this whole setup, with the 40-foot skater and the 1,200 horsepower motors, is that we're lighter. We have less things to go wrong. We have just 2 motors. They have 4. It's just one more thing to go wrong on a boat. And that's our edge. If we can stay within striking distance and then pick them off at the end, that's what we'll have to do. But of course, they have the speed on us in the rougher water, and perhaps even here at Cocoa Beach. But we're definitely lighter. We can get in and out of the apex, out of the turns sooner, and that's our edge. And we got to take every little inch in order to beat the bigger boats.
He's like a mild-mannered Clark Kent, but boy, he turns into a monster when he gets into the wheel of this beautiful Circus.
Little Caesar's Pizza having their turbo problems. They've been fighting this problem all day long, even before the race. Trace Martin working long hours to reset the computers, trying to change the fuel mix to make the power on the bottom end, but they're certainly having their problems now.
Powerboat Marine bouncing through this north turn, boy. That slop is not getting any better as we look at Insatiable. The starboard hatch came off the last lap, and the port side hatch has just flopped over. They may lose that part of the boat, too.
They haven't had a lot of testing time with this boat, and they wanted to just run a safe speed. They said it can't learn without racing, and they're getting the racing in. Dirty Laundry leading the open class right now, as we've had a sensational race in the open class. In fact, 6 boats over 70 miles an hour in the first lap, and it still has not given in.
They're easing their way through the north turn now with the Dirty Laundry with a slight edge over AES Motorsport.
At about 80 miles an hour, it's difficult to tell, but the boats are fighting a condition known as beam C. They're close to the beach, so the waves are hitting the sides as they cut through the water.
It's like walking up a staircase sideways, and you're trying to go in a forward motion. It's very difficult for the boat driver. It's real tough for the throttle man because one drive is in, one drive is out, and it has a tendency of tossing and pushing the boat around where the water conditions wants to push it, and the driver's trying to steer it in another direction. You're always trying to keep it on course and in a straight line, and the sea conditions are literally pushing you sideways, so it makes it tough for the entire crew.
Well, if anyone can handle it, Joey Impression A great veteran in that AES Motorsports certainly can, as they are in the lead now for the open classification. Alivite looking very strong right now. They've placed in the top three of the last 4 races. Battle for third, and with Mean Streak at Marathon when a water hose broke, spraying all over the distributor. Here's Mean Streak, Jim.
Yes, Bobby Cicenti, really, the veteran throttle man has his hands full. Watch him work the throttles. That prop comes out of the water, gets back off. Here's Pro 1. Action right now. It is Skater Express. Joe Jacobson from St. Louis in the lead with Red Crane from Harrison Township, Michigan. They're getting quite a ride in Pro 1.
Right behind them, Tough Enough in second place, the husband-wife team from Canada of Mark and Dana Weigel. Agitator is right there at third. Agitator winning a terrific freeway battle for the checkered flag at Marathon in the last race as we go back to the Superboat competition.
Let's go upstairs to Rich Lures.
The early race strategy right now is the Spirit of the Amazon passes under us and Gentry comes right behind. Obviously, as Gentry wants to finish, he's keeping the Spirit of the Amazon in sight. He knows he's got top speed, but he wasn't going to use it too early in the race. Smart move by the KG veteran from Hawaii.
Gentry really doing quite a job, Jim, in getting back into this race after navigational problems. Here's Spirit of the Amazon looking powerful.
Let's look at our leaderboard in the 2 classes Superboats, led by Amazon at 85.9 mile an hour average. AES is now in first place in the open class. And we'll be back with the 1991 Space Coast Offshore Challenge from Cocoa Beach, Florida in just a moment.
This portion of the Florida Keys and Key West Space Coast Offshore Challenge is sponsored by Zenith Data Systems, official personal computer of the Offshore Professional Tour. Thousands of fans have gathered on the piers and beachside, ready for action. Here's Jim with a closer look at this wonderful area.
Located between the attractions of Orlando and the waters of the Atlantic, Florida's Space Coast has the right stuff for those who wonder at the heavens or just have fun in the sun. The Space Coast is home to the Kennedy Space Center and its Spaceport USA. Enjoying many tours and exhibits, visitors can learn all about America's space program. Nearby lies the U.S. Space Camp, designed to teach children about space, science, and technology. Amidst this exploration of the stars lies over 72 miles of unspoiled beaches, proving what a beautiful place our home planet can be as well. At the Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge, birds, reptiles, and many other species can be observed in their natural habitat. To get away from it all, visitors can drift off from Port Canaveral, the 3rd largest cruise port in the United States. For enjoyment on the mainland, the Space Coast has many activities, including airboating, fishing, and golfing. With so many diverse attractions and recreational pleasures, it's easy to see why Florida Space Coast is out of this world.
Back to racing action, and what a battle going on here between Agitator and Tough Enough. Agitator, the veteran father and son team of Alan and Kirk Dunneman from Oak Brook, Illinois, and Dana Mark Weigel. Of course, they came in 8th at Marathon behind the winner, Agitator, in Tough Enough. But they're battling for the lead right now. Husband and wife versus father and son, inboard versus outboard, veteran versus newcomer.
And a family affair in Pro 1 as they battle for first place. An equally exciting battle going on for third place. On the left of your screen, First Defense, Mike Novick, John Carbona. On the top of your screen, Rick Felson and John Engel.
What a ride!
It is, oh, he comes off of that, whoa! He come off of that wave and did a dipsy-doodle and landed on his left side. He's very lucky he didn't go over.
In the Pro 2, Matter Racing, a force to be reckoned with right now. Fred Green and Scott Duvall from Indiana. Great Adventure, former national champion, S1.
And the Gazelle brothers doing very well today here in rough water.
That's a brand new 31-foot boat with an additional 600 horsepower this year.
Oh, the launching of the Can't Touch This. Bill Murray and Lee Murray. Look at those guys bounce around. These boats look like little gnats against this great big sea. The smallest racers here today, and they're really got big hearts. They're battling it all the way.
And the battle for fourth, Conch Attack and Archer Marine, as we go back now to the open class and our leader, AES Motorsports. Well, they certainly showed they had the speed and the experience to run fast in the first race of the season at Marathon, taking a second, but they just couldn't quite catch the smaller and lighter Ferrari collection.
Ali Veet running second, Bill Ellsworth and Pete Rhodes, and they're launching off those waves, blasting up toward the sky. What a rough ride.
Right you are, Jim. Number 78, Ali Veet, is shooting skyward, doing some moonshots here off Cape Canaveral in the seas that they love. This is the kind of water they did so well in Key West last year. These seas are a great equalizer between themselves and the cats. Surprising as it may seem, these kind of conditions are really banging the guys in the V-bottoms around. The rollers are climbing. The tide is changing right now, starting to come in. It's getting rougher.
Ali Veet, they were hoping this would be the right craft for today's conditions, and they're putting in a very consistent run.
No canopy on Ali Veet. These three guys just up there breathing fresh air as we look at Dirty Laundry in third place, and they don't know. I don't know if that's strategy right now or if they're having a problem. Uncharacteristically, they're in the back of the pack in third place as they go by the superboat Bud Dry. Speaking of superboats, here is our leader, the Amazon. Ike Batista and Bobby Moore.
Boy, they've really put it down now. No navigational problems, better than 88 miles per hour. Their average speed just seems to increase and increase. Circus. And look at this. A moment in OPT trivia history. The two new 40-footers sandwiching the 50-footer and both passing. Powerboat Marine has already passed Gentry. And here comes Circus. Is this a new era, Jim?
Or is it a problem for the Gentry Turbo Eagle team? Are they running in all cylinders? We don't know. But at any rate, it's exciting racing. And the Gentry Turbo Eagle will now drop back to fourth as the two 40-footers go by. Both hatches are off the Insatiable, and there's another problem, Art. Do I see a crack?
Yes, right near the coolant water coming out of the exhaust port there is a crack, a definite crack. Medical and safety teams have been notified. They're moving in. They'll have to try the best they can to black flag them for their own safety. That boat could break in two.
We'll be back with more action from Cocoa Beach, Florida, after this timeout.
Welcome back to the Space Coast Offshore Challenge. We've got a full speed, throttle wide open battle between Dirty Laundry and Ali Veet. Dirty Laundry now trying to cut to the inside and cut through the wake. Oh, he has to adjust now. He's actually lost time and lost room.
Can you believe that? He tried to cut inside and got wet by the rooster tail, now has to get back on course. Meanwhile, Ali Veet, a deep V, took that turn much better. Rich Lurs explains what advantage these open Vs have.
The controversy regarding which design is superior, the catamaran or the V-bottom in average offshore conditions, was settled quietly by the OPT. A new rule which allows virtually unlimited engine modifications and an extra 100 cubic inches in open V-bottoms has recognized the distinct handicap that V-bottoms have experienced when competing head-up against the cats. Due to their 20 to 25% advantage in speed and the continued evolution in design which allows the cats to handle most sea conditions on equal footing with the monohulls, the OPT has permitted turbo or supercharged engines of up to 600 cubic inches to compete against the naturally aspirated 500 cubic inch engines regulated for the open class cats. How much more power does this allow the monohull Vs? The extra 100 cubic inches alone is good for an automatic 20% boost, while turbo or supercharging provides another 25%. This equates to an almost 50% more power advantage for the older design single-hull racers. Why aren't the newly powered Vs faster than the cats? Simple. It frequently takes at least 50% more power to yield 20% more speed. Speed on the water doesn't come cheap. In addition, the reliability goes down. The monohull racers may not be able to utilize all the extra horsepower as well as they might like, since stability decreases with increased speed in a V-bottom. This causes additional horsepower robbing measures to trim the boat and keep it well behaved. In short, some of the power is lost due to the increased speed potential. Many of the open cats already run at speeds above the stability envelope of the average V-bottom regardless of its power. It takes months of testing, modification, and skill to to defy the ground effects that must be overcome. The debate over which design is superior has raged for years, and will probably continue. But one thing is clear. Many V-bottom racers were quite eager to get a little extra boost in the engine compartment. Now the challenge is how to harness it.
Ali Veet is harnessing it well. They started a string back at Grand Haven and Marathon at Key West, finishing in the top 3 in all of those ending races last year. And they're leading right now in the open class. The team from Glen Ellen, Illinois, Bill Ellsworth and Pete Rose. And here's Dirty Laundry, Joe Mock out of St. Louis and Smitty Smith from Miami. They're looking tough. They want to get right back into this thing after not doing as well as they expected in the first race of the season.
Well, they're still to be counted on here. Looking at Pro 1, here's the agitator, Alan and Kirk Dunneman, father and son team leading in the Pro 1.
And they always finish strong. At least they did at Marathon the first race of the season with a phenomenal last lap to take over that final lead. Skater Express.
Joe Jacobson and Red Crane in second place. Here's Fred Green and Scott DeVell from Indiana. Central Division Class B champs last year and second in Marathon. Looking well in Pro 2 as the leaders. There, of course, will always get the challenge from these guys, the Gazelle brothers, in great adventure.
National champions last year, coming off a subpar performance in the first race of the season.
Here's our leader in Superboat. And if winning in offshore racing is survival of the fittest, then the Spirit of the Amazon is king of the jungle.
Okay, Circus, and a great battle now with Powerboat Marine for second place. Two catamarans putting on a great performance. You know, Circus is running with electronic fuel injection with their turbochargers. It eliminates the turbo lag. It gives them more precise metering of fuel, and it also, Jim, gives them 500 to 600 more horsepower. What a battle we've got.
We have a hatch problem on the Powerboat Marine. The hatch is coming loose as the Circus now starts to inch forward.
Getting jarred in that wake with a hatch flying could create some aerodynamic problems as far as drag is concerned. Here's Spirit of the Amazon, our leader.
And we'll be back with the finish of the Space Coast Challenge after this timeout.
The Superboat finish, and it's Spirit of the Amazon dominating out in front with a tremendous speed of 82.82 miles an hour for this very rough conditioned race. Spirit of the Amazon winning their second consecutive race of the two-race season so far. Powerboat Marine second, and Circus getting into the competitive ranks during this event.
And now, a sprint to the finish as Joe Mock and Smitty Smith have come on from third place. They're challenging Ali Veet, who has led most of the way. Ali Veet gets bent way out of shape, another few feet, and it's going to be a victory for the first time in 1990 for the Dirty Laundry team. The champions of last year did not fare that well in the first race in Marathon, but they've made up for it today. They've had to battle 144 miles, 8 laps, to come down to this, just a 3-second victory.
And our watch tells us he really put the throttle all the way down, 81.4 miles an hour on the final lap. I don't know if he was saving it for that stretch run or not, but he sure blistered the sea. His average speed, 77.33. Ali Veet second, and AES Motorsports with a very impressive third here today. Jim's down on the dock now with our Pro 2 winner.
Pro 2 winners, Matter Racing Team, Scott Duvall. This is your first season of OPT racing, the second event. Not too shabby to win.
Yeah, we'll take it. It was, pretty mean out there. The water was just the way we probably would like to have it.
Fred, how rough was it?
Oh, we could handle it. We got a good throttle, man, and he knows when to get off and when to get back on it. So we work as a team. It's not one individual out there.
Now here's our OPT high point standing board for the first 2 races. Manta Racing leading all comers. Let's go to the Pro 1 winning Doc and Art Ekman. Art?
Well, Alan, in 2 races, you can't do any better than 2 first places.
No, we can't. We're proud of it, and I'll tell you, today we We worked extra hard to get that first place. If you saw the race at all out in the waterway, we had 2 boats right with us all the time.
Kirk, that competition really forced you to go to the edge a few times, didn't it? Because we saw you stuff one time.
Yeah, we stuffed it a couple more times than once, and I'd like to say all this is sweat from hard work, but actually I fell in the water there when tying up.
Well, the front of the boat looks like it took a pounding.
Yeah, we split the deck on it, and somebody else said when we were coming in, some little hull work needs to be done on the bottom, looked like. We knew we were probably splitting it up. We had some patches after the last race, but you know, when you're running first or second, third place, and when you're right in that pack, you never back off until you sink.
With back-to-back victories, Agitator leads in OPT point standings for Pro 1.
Before what officials tell us is the all-time biggest crowd on the beach for Beach Fest in this 91 season. Dirty Laundry, a hard-fought victory, picking up the checkered flag. And we'll be talking with Joe Mock and Smitty Smith, as well as the Superboat winners, Ike Batista and Bobby Moore, when we come back. Last year's national and world champion in the open class, Dirty Laundry, takes their first victory in 91. And Jim is with our winners now.
To survive this course today means to win, and that's the case, of course, Joe Mock and Smitty Smith. Running second all day, of course, that's the breaks of racing.
Well, we did run second most of the day, sometimes third. But we were there at the finish, and the other boats were not there at the finish.
As a throttle man, Smitty, what adjustments did you have to make in strategy when this wind came up just before race time?
Well, we had small props on, but I didn't go quite small enough. But we laid where we thought we should lay today to try to finish, and then we saw a chance to go at the end. We just stepped it up 20 miles an hour and went on to win.
First race of the year, you were winning all the race. All of a sudden, one more lap to go, you broke down. So today's kind of a payback.
Right. We were running second and third most of the race. Joey and Pressure broke down, and then there was the V-bottom in front of us yet, and we caught the V-bottom on the last lap.
Is this true offshore racing?
That is true offshore racing today. It was nice out there today.
Our virtue over their come-from-behind victory here today. The Dirty Laundry team has a scant 10-point lead over second-place AES in the high point standings. Now let's go down to the winning docks of the Superboats.
Ike, 2 in a row. How's it feel?
It feels great. It was a tough race, and this time you really feel that we won it because it was really tough.
It was true offshore racing with the conditions out there, Bobby, and in the competition, as he mentioned.
Indeed it was. Really, it was a good race. Tom Gentry was awesome. The first 3 laps, it was a nick and tuck if we could beat him or not. And in excess, the 47 Apache ran good. But our Gentry engines, they just performed unbelievable with the Kikefa drives. Just the whole boat was just, it outclassed everybody today.
What about the turns and the maneuverability?
Well, we kind of play it cool in the turns. We don't take undue chances. We wait till we've got a good straightaway and race a safe race. That's what we've done.
It was also a navigational problem at times with some spectator boats out there.
Yes, we followed Gentry in the first lap, and I guess, well, you know, a fool following a fool.
Well, at least they can laugh about it because they ended up on top. Amazon, with 2 consecutive victories, 1991, lead in OPT high point standings. Now let's take a look at the great key maneuver of the race.
Our Florida Keys and Key West key maneuver of the race goes to Dirty Laundry for that beautiful come-from-behind performance from third place, hanging in strong. Pedal to the metal win on the last lap by 3 seconds goes to Joe Mock and Harold Smitty Smith. Our congratulations for the key maneuver of the race.
Our next race will be at New Orleans, the Lake Fest at New Orleans, Louisiana. Our cameras will be on hand. Our deckman, yours truly, Jim Hendrick, will be there for all the action.
It's been a wonderful first-time appearance for the OPT fleet in Cocoa Beach, Florida, Jim.
It has been a great festive crowd, great weather, great racing, rough course, but they survived, and they really thrilled the fans today.
Our deckman for Jim Hendrick and Rich Lures saying thanks for being with us. See you next from New Orleans. The Florida Keys and Key West Space Coast Offshore Challenge has been sponsored by Popeye's Famous Fried Chicken and Biscuits. And by the Florida Keys and Key West. Now is the time to just let go in the Keys. This has been a production of IPI Sports in association with ESPN.